Before we begin, welcome to Life Tales English. Here, you learn English through real stories, slowly, clearly, and with meaning. So take a breath, relax, and let the language come naturally. Now, imagine two brothers so powerful, so talented, and so stubborn that their fight didn't just break their family, it split an entire town in half. This is the true story of Adidas and Puma, a story about family, jealousy, war, pride, betrayal, and a rivalry that lasted for almost 60 years. And everything you are about to hear really happened. In the early 1900s, in a small German town called Herzogenaurach, two brothers grew up under the same roof. Adolf Adi Dassler was quiet, shy, and deeply creative. He was the kind of person who could spend hours alone with tools and leather, trying to shape the perfect shoe. Rudolf Rudi Dassler, on the other hand, was loud, charismatic, and confident. He loved talking to people, convincing them, selling to them. If Adi lived in his own mind, Rudi lived in the world around him. People in town used to say, Adi builds the shoes, Rudi sells them. And that was exactly how they worked. Two opposites, but together one unstoppable force.
After World War I, Germany was struggling. But Adi had a vision. He wanted to create high-quality sports shoes, something almost no one in the country was doing. So he started making shoes in his mother's small laundry room. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't comfortable. But Adi worked quietly and obsessively, testing new designs, cutting leather, and shaping soles. Soon, Rudi joined him. With Adi's hands and Rudi's charm, the small business grew. Rudi would walk around town visiting sports clubs, schools, and athletes, convincing people to try their shoes. Slowly, the Dassler name spread. Their big break came in 1936 at the Berlin Olympic Games. The brothers knew that if their shoes appeared on the world's greatest athlete, everyone would know their brand. That athlete was Jesse Owens, the American sprinter who would become a legend. But there was a problem. Germany at the time didn't want to support an African-American athlete. It was dangerous and politically sensitive.
Still, Adi didn't care. He believed in his shoes. He believed in performance. He believed in Owens. So he approached Jesse quietly with a shoebox and said, I believe in you. Wear these. And Owens did. Under the eyes of the world, Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals, all in Dassler shoes. Overnight, the Dassler brothers became famous. Orders poured in. The business exploded. But success changes people, and it changes families even more. At first, the arguments were silly, small, almost harmless. Rudi complained that Adi was too slow, too obsessed with tiny details. Adi complained that Rudi talked too much and made promises he couldn't keep. Rudi wanted expansion. Adi wanted perfection. But slowly, the disagreements became deeper. Tensions grew. And then World War II arrived.
War is a place where trust disappears. It was no different for Adi and Rudi. Both brothers were forced to help the German army. Rudi was sent to the front lines, a dangerous assignment. He was furious and believed Adi had something to do with it, although this was never proven. Then came the moment that would destroy their relationship forever. One night, during an air raid, Adi and his wife were hiding in a bomb shelter. A few moments later, Rudy and his family rushed in. Hearing the planes overhead, Adi said, "Here come the dirty pigs again." He meant the planes, but Rudy thought he meant him. That misunderstanding stayed in Rudy's mind like poison. As the war ended, American soldiers arrested Rudolf Dassler. Someone had told them Rudy was collaborating with the Nazis. To this day, nobody knows who gave that information. But Rudy believed one thing: Adi betrayed him.
Rudy even asked Adi later, "Why did you do this?" Adi didn't answer. Whether he was guilty or not no longer mattered. Trust was gone. When Rudy was released and returned home, he didn't even sit down. He looked at his brother and said, "I am done with you." And with that sentence, one of the greatest business partnerships in history ended forever. In 1948, they split their company in two. They divided the factory, the workers, the machines, everything. They also agreed never to work together again. Each needed a new name. Adi combined his nickname and last name, Adi, Das, Adidas. Rudy first tried Ruda, but it sounded unpleasant, so he changed it to Puma, fast, powerful, fierce. But the most unbelievable part wasn't the business split. It was the town itself.
Herzogenaurach divided into two sides, the Adidas side and the Puma side. People checked your shoes before speaking to you. Wearing Adidas meant you didn't date someone from a Puma family. Working for Puma meant you didn't shop in Adidas-friendly stores. Even churches and bars had Adidas and Puma sections. The town became known as the town of bent necks, because everyone kept looking down at each other's shoes. This wasn't competition. This was a Cold War. Rudy built Puma with aggressive marketing and big athlete partnerships. He was loud, bold, and fearless. Adi built Adidas with quiet innovation, small improvements, and brilliant engineering. He was a craftsman, and the world noticed. In 1954, Adidas made sports history. During the World Cup, the German team faced Hungary, the strongest team in the world. It was raining heavily, and the field became muddy.
Players were slipping. But Adi had designed something new: football boots with removable studs. When the rain worsened, the German team changed to longer studs. Hungary couldn't. Germany won. The entire nation celebrated. Adidas became a global powerhouse. But Puma wasn't done. In 1970, they signed Pelé, one of the greatest football players who ever lived. But signing him was not the genius part. Puma paid Pelé to do something simple: to tie his shoelaces at the center of the field during the World Cup while cameras zoomed in. Millions of people watching saw one thing: Puma. One act changed marketing forever. The brothers lived in the same town for decades, sometimes only streets apart, but they never spoke. Not during success, not during failures, not during sickness, not when their children were born, not when they grew old.
When Rudy died in 1974, He was buried on one side of town. When Adi died 4 years later, he was buried on the opposite side. Even in death, they remained divided. But their companies continued to rise. Adidas became iconic in music and culture, working with Run DMC, Kanye West, David Beckham, Lionel Messi, and the Olympics. Puma found massive success with Pelé, Maradona, Usain Bolt, Rihanna, and elite football clubs. All because two brothers refused to forgive each other. In 2009, decades after both brothers had died, something extraordinary happened. Employees from Adidas and Puma met for a friendly football match, the first cooperation between the two companies in more than 60 years. There were no brothers left to fight, only people who wanted peace. The rivalry still exists today, but now it is healthy, creative, competitive in the best way. The story of Adidas and Puma is not just a business story. It is a story about how small misunderstandings can grow into giant conflicts, how pride can destroy even the strongest relationships, how competition can create brilliance. Sometimes the person closest to you is the person you end up fighting the hardest. And sometimes the world's greatest companies come from the world's greatest conflicts.